Okay, we are on Keilim Perak Kaf Aleph Mishnah Gimel. Third and last Mishnah in the 21st chapter, Masechet Keilim. Why are there only 3 Mishnayot in the 21st chapter? I have no idea. Mishnah says, Hanogea biyad megera. Megera is a saw. So if you touch, remember we're talking about yadot. Is the handle a chibur? A chibur means a connection. Is the handle of something a chibur to the item itself? So when you touch the handle, it's as if you touch the item itself. So it says the Mishnah, if you touch the hand of a saw, mikanu mikan, talking about one of those saws that goes across, we're going to see pictures of all these things. Okay, then tameh. If the saw is tameh, the handle is tameh as well. Here's the saw. We're going to see the saw has a handle. Here's the saw. Nowadays, the saw is thick enough, but then I guess the metal was much more expensive, so you had to stabilize it. So it could have a string, it could have a beam across, it could have a stick in between, and we're going to talk about all those things the Mishnah says. But if you touch the chut, the string, mishicha is like a rope, I think. Okay, but amma is a long piece of wood between the two sticks. Sinifim, okay, or a small. The Bartuner says eitz katanutun min chut ada amma. Okay, so let's look at all those things that we just saw in the picture. You had a chut mishicha, some kind of rope. You had the amma. And then you have this snifin, this small thing that connects the two. If you touch anyone, so if you touch the handles, if this is tameh, the handles also are mitameh. That's a chibur. But all this stuff, this secondary stuff, I guess that's not a handle, but gives the handle stability. If you touch all these things, okay, we're going to see. If you touch again, chut, mishicha, those strings, ba'ama, the long stick, the snifin, the small stick, or machbesh shel charash. Machbesh is a press. Let's look at here. Machbesh shel charash is a kind of press that the charash, the carpenter used. Let me move myself over here. They have a carpenter. He had a press. If he had pieces of wood that were sort of bent out of shape and he wanted to press them together. So if you touch the machbesh shel charash, this press, I guess you touch the handle, maybe, or kashtanit. This is a word from keshet. Keshet is a bow, but kashtanit is kind of bow. The Bartuner says that you would stick into a yated. The yated you would stick on here as a drill. Okay, you had a makdeach, you had a drill, and this is the way you would stick it on in order that you could turn and drill. There was a hand drill. That's how they would do it. So if you touch any of those things, tahor. It's not really clear in the machbesh shel charash what exactly you're touching. Okay, it's not really exactly here. What part became tameh? I guess the handle of it. This part. It's not entirely clear which part became tameh and which part is the yad. Nonetheless, if you touch any of those things, tahor. Rabbi Yehuda says, even if you touch the malbein is the rectangle of this huge saw. What's the rectangle of a huge saw? Well, look at the picture. I guess you wanted to cut beams of some kind, so you had to have these huge saws. So they would make this malbein, they would make this rectangle. So Rabbi Yehuda said, okay, these are only the yadot. This is the handles. The malbein is not the handles. Although one could argue and say, if you had to have people hold it this way, I could say that would be a yada, that would be a chibur as well. That you could see why people might disagree with Rabbi Yehuda. Hanogea biyeter ubekeshet. Keshet is the bow, yeter is the string, and a bow and arrow. So let's say an arrow became tameh. So you touch the string, the yeter, or the keshet. I don't know what's called the yeter, the extra, whatever. The arrow is tameh, but you're holding the arrow. I'm holding the arrow. And somebody else touches the bow. The bow is not considered a chibur. Even though it's pulled, matuach means pressured, pulled, it's still nonetheless torah. It's not a chibur. Mitsudata ishut. Ishut is some kind of like weasel, a blind weasel, some kind of rodent. So they made traps for it. It's tahorah. The Bartuner says that's tahorah because it's not a kli. It's not considered a kli. Even though if you look at the trap is made, it had like a little stake in it. So the thing comes in, eats the food, pshoo, bomb. Okay, nonetheless, Bartuner says it's not a kli. Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda, calls manchi mitucha. If it's pulled open, i.e., it's meant to be trapped, it's ready to catch, then it is a chibur. It's a chibur. If the yated became tameh, Rabbi Yehuda says, if the yated became tameh, I don't know if it's like here, that's what happens. If this became tameh, the rest of the trap is a chibur as well. All right, we'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.